Welcome back to Lock and Reload. So you're probably thinking right now, why did he not buy one Ruger p-85, but he bought two? Well, let me tell you, they're both not Ruger p-85s. They look similar, but they're both very, very different. On a side note, Mountain Dew voltage, good stuff. Anyways, I do have a p-85. This is actually my gun. And the other one is actually a Ruger p-89. For those of you that are looking at either buying a p-85, a p-85, or a p-89, or any P-series, in all general product knowledge on these, they're all about the same. Right down to the new P90s. P90s look a little different, but they have all the same functions. I believe the new P90s also have a polymer frame, versus both of these have aluminum. So this is my comparison with a p-85 and a p-89. First off, I have a review on the p-85. So I'm not going to do so much on the p-85. And in fact, I'm going to put that off to the side. Now, the p-89, this is actually my neighbor's. He's the guy who owned the EAA Windicator, and he's decided to get rid of that and buy a p-89. He's very happy with it. So some of the subtle differences between a p-85 and a p-89. Look, there really isn't a whole lot. First off, trigger pull is not as long as the 85. The slide releases are the same. The frame themselves are the same. So if you're looking for grips for a p-89, they're also interchangeable with a p-85. Most of these parts are. Now, the safety on the slide is a little different, as you can see. Basically, the p-89 derives from the p-85 Mark II. There were some improvements from this gun that they had to make. They weren't really having malfunctions, but they wanted to improve the gun, and there's a couple safety features that they wanted to improve on. And after the p-85 Mark II, they came out with the p-89. Anyway, the hammer is subtly different. It's a little different curve. It's a little smaller, actually. A little brighter. The barrels are identical. The sights are very, very similar and very close. The dots on the p-89 versus the p-85, they're pretty close, almost identical. But, subtle differences. The 89 has a adjuster screw that holds the rear sight in place, versus the 85 does not. Basically, you drift it left or right with a punch. You do the same thing with the 89, only they have the extra insurance policy, which would be this adjuster screw to hold down the rear sight. The front sight post on both of them are identical, or pretty close to identical. The profiles of them are really, really close. You can use p-89 mags in a p-85 and a p-85 mag in an 89, so that's kind of cool. Like I stated, the triggers are a little different. Not by much, though. It's not as creepy trigger pull on the 89 as it is on the 85. Muzzle. By the way, these are unloaded. Muzzles are a little different. Not by much. They both take the same guide rod, but they're pretty comparable. Mine protrudes a little bit versus the 89 is more flush. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of difference. Big difference, this one actually came with a factory mag. Mine did not. Mine came with a ram line. But they're interchangeable. They're both great firearms. They're both ambidextrous safeties, so you've got on the right side and the left side. Magazine on the 89 is on the left side and the right side, so that's kind of cool. The finishes are a little different. The 89s, when they're blued, they're a little bit more brown in color versus the 85s. I find a little bit more elegant. It's a true blue. So if you're in the market for a Ruger p-85, a p-95, p-89, p-90, they're all about the same. They all started with the 85s. The 85 started set the bar. They're very reliable guns. By no means are they anywhere near today's standards as far as polymer guns. They are chunky guns, but you know what? They're very reliable and they're very accurate. So that concludes the p-85 and the p-89 comparison. If you have any questions or concerns, leave me a comment. So I'm gonna try to do this every video. The product of the day. And no, it wasn't Mountain Dew Voltage, although it is good. Voltage. Oh, product of the day. You know, I'm going to put a product out there whether it's good or bad. Pro Mag. This is my p-85 magazine. Also fits in most of the P series. The brighter points of this mag. The fit and finishing are pretty good. Like most magazines, I have to hone out the actual mag catch hole because they're usually a little small. Otherwise, you have to really slam it into the gun. Be very careful when you do that. If you cut too much off, then it gets really sloppy. The floor plate is a good construction. All around, in general overview as far as the Pro Mag, it's a good quality looking mag. Functionality. Would I rely my life on this magazine? Hell no. I've shot 60 to 70 rounds of ammunition through this. It ran every round but one. Most magazines are supposed to hold the slide open after the last shot. The Pro Mag here held the bolt open on the last shot. So there was still one round in here and it held the bolt open. You had one round left. So that being said, I would not rely my life on this. And I thought it was just the ammunition, so I changed up ammunition. It was not the ammunition, it was the magazine. And I've tried Pro Mags in my AKs, and I've never done a review because I was very displeased with them, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt on their pistol magazines. Overall, it's a good quality looking mag, but I would not trust my life on it. But again, their pistol mags are just as much a piece of junk as their rifle mags as well. So at any rate, this is a lock and reload with a crappy, absolutely crappy Pro Mag, an awesome p-85, an outstanding p-89. But at any rate, shoot, save. This is Lock and Reload. Catch you later.